Here we are, our second Spilling the Tea, sponsored and produced by Serious Business, our annual gathering. And this year, our annual gathering, Serious Business, is going fully virtual. And what we wanted to do is that we wanted to offer you a time to really get to know some of the speakers that you're going to be hearing at our fully virtual Serious Business in January. So today we have Carol, Augusto, and I. Carol is the executive producer of Serious Business. Hi, Carol.
Hey, it's good to see you.
And Serious Business, this will be our 22nd year producing Serious Business. And Serious Business is somebody's dog.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, so everyone, we just to let you know, we all have dogs. And at any moment, the dogs may just sound off. So just include it. Like we had to include so many other things in our lives.
Right.
So let's just include it. But Serious Business, the intention has always been to expose, evoke, and evolve our thinking, thus impacting and directing our actions. So ultimately, our thinking is intended to create action. So we're not just about thinking, we're about creating action with our thinking. And the thinking, especially now, my goodness, we've had to really think and look at things differently in this last year. So with us today, we have Scot Robinson and Shawn McGhee. They have two salons Pavo Salons in Memphis, Tennessee, and they will be sharing more of how they have created the evolution and success that they experience. And so it's just a conversation, and I guess I'd like to start with, that loaded question that everybody, when you ask it, you got to be prepared. But since this is called Spilling the Tea, so how are you guys doing right now?
Who wants to start? We've been together so long, it's like one mind here. Absolutely. It's weird because we've talked about this through this whole process. Like we feel like we're doing well. Mentally, I feel like we're in a good space, and that doesn't take away from the fact that, you have your freakouts and your worries and your stresses. But like overall, it's been really weird to watch ourselves maneuver through this, because I'm like, how have we been able to do what we're doing, but we're doing it? So I think it's just years of preparation. I mean, like that's the only thing we can contribute it to, is just years of working on ourselves, working on our business, and doing everything that we do that led us to be able to kind of steer through this and feel good about it.
Yeah.
And I think that you don't really have time to dwell in it. You just need to take action and just show up every morning and every day and just do what you have to do. So we just don't dwell on, the specifics of it. We just go into like work mode and show up every day.
That's awesome. I know that y'all have a large team. So how has it been keeping their morale going, keeping everything going during all of this?
Yeah, I think very early on, and Shawn was really watching things, even when it was still in China. I mean, he was just like, he was talking to me so much about it. And of course, I'm the one that's like, oh, it's in China. But, he was really prepping me and being like, hey, listen, what if? So early on, we understood that it was going to be our responsibility to engage with our staff, and that no matter what we were feeling, what we were thinking, like, these are our people, and like, we knew it was our responsibility to carry them through this. And that a lot of their reactions would be based off of our actions. So we just, from a very early stage of it, really had that open line of communication with people of like trying to prepare them for what could happen or what might happen. So we were just very open with them. And, and I think because of our own actions, they felt really good about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, not gonna lie though, there have been moments where, people have collectively, you can feel the tension, you can feel the anxiety, and it's a little bit harder to control sometimes than others. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's not. So it can be challenging.
Yeah.
We went through that probably.
Yeah, and we definitely did mental health checkups. Like when we were closed, we made a point to literally call every single person on our team and do check-ins. And it was interesting because some people were just like, hey, whatever, this is fine. And then other people just went to such deep places that I was actually a little afraid for a few, that I was like, okay, they need to like pull themselves out of this, I mean, I know myself, like early on, I had such fears. Like I was like, at nighttime when you're, 3 o'clock in the morning and you wake up, you're like, should I make notes? Like if I die, this is who I want my dog to go to. This is who I want. I mean, here's my passwords. Here's my, things of that nature. You had all these just irrational thoughts in your head. But every morning when we woke up, we just knew that how we wanted to come through this was going to be based off of our own actions.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about the irrational thoughts, and I think I even mentioned it last week with our conversation with Brandon. It's the irrational thoughts are going to be there. It's kind of like meditation when you're learning how to meditate and you think you're supposed to like have this experience of having no thoughts, which is that's impossible. But you like acknowledge the thought, and then move on. Don't give it the energy. So, but you guys you've been salon owners and partners for how long?
So originally I hired Shawn as a stylist. So I opened a salon in 1994, was a whopping 24 years old. I'd been in the business for about 5 years. So I think Shawn was like the second person I hired. And then we worked as employer-employee for about 5 years. And then from the very beginning, I saw his value of what we definitely had such a yin and yang, of just back and forth of like strength and weakness. And so we partnered in 99 and then changed the name of the salon then. So
you guys seem so wise. So how did you get so wise? So what were some of the things along your journey that created so much wisdom and kind of contributed to your evolution?
So this is just kind of a funny, but when we were younger, and I would tell Shawn that I didn't know why he liked me because I was like, you're so much deeper than I am. I was internally a little bit afraid of him because I felt like he lived so much deeper than I did. I like to stay on the surface and not let people see all my thoughts, all those irrational thoughts and stuff.
I think that what's similar about Scott and I is we know to surround ourselves with the right people. And I think that I learned that from a very young age, is to recognize the right people that, in whatever you're doing, to surround yourself with those people. And I think that that's what we've done. Whatever wisdom we do have is due to us just listening to the right people and engaging those people.
And also just life experiences, just living, and putting yourself in those places of time and moments that, finding the interesting person in the room, not necessarily the most popular person in the room, but the most interesting person in the room, and seeing what they have to say. I've always been inquisitive. Even as a young kid, like I always wanted to know that different person in the room, like what was their story, what was their outtake, you know?
And that bleeds into like either the business and who we choose to work with us. I think that that's something that we look at a lot. It's not necessarily the obvious things that I mean, those things have to matter, you know, when you're looking for people, but we're always looking for people that have different takes on things or different interests or just different people, because I think that that just adds so much to the environment and the character of the business, I think. And
well, the two of you you've always participated and contributed. So your participation, I just think about how long, you know, our relationship, ours as in ours and Neil and Aveda and Serious Business, you guys have always shown up.
Yeah, I like
either way, it scared the crap out of us.
I know, yeah, yeah.
You know, especially there at the
Definitely.
beginning, you know, it was.
When we were infants, we look back at those early days of Serious Business and leaving, and like we had a 6-hour car ride home and it felt like an hour because we would just talk so much. But basically we, you know, back then we were such infants and we didn't have the size of some of the people that we were being exposed to. And you think, oh my God, I just need to go back and like blow the whole thing up and start over. And, you know, you had to process
that. Did you ever go back and blow the whole thing up? How did you, that, you know?
you know, there were probably segments that, yes, we did. But I think the biggest thing for Shawn and I is we have always operated from our gut, that just gut intuition and knowing what was right for ourselves. And that's the one thing I've always loved about the both of us is that we have a really good internal understanding of what's right for us. And so, you know, you would be exposed to so much knowledge, and you know, we all know that being in this industry, there's a million different ways to run your business and you hear so many things. And so those first thoughts, you know, again, you've got all those thoughts running through your head and trying to process of what's right for us. And so, yeah, sometimes we came back and tried stuff and we're like, okay, this is not us. This is not, we're trying to be somebody else. Like, this is not us. You know. But
you learn from that too. I think that you learn what the right thing is for you. Sometimes you need to do the things that don't work to figure out the things that do.
To make it clear for yourself. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
When I really got to know you guys was it was several years ago, really, when we went through NQC together. And that was, I mean, y'all were like sponges, just ready to.
Yeah.
That was so pivotal. Oh my gosh, that was so pivotal.
If I could have that NQC moment again, I would love to have that moment again.
So which moment? The NQC
Just
moment?
the whole overwhelming, dig deep, dig really deep into who you are, what you do, you know, but when I think about NQC, it was so pivotal in who we became as business people. And when I look at the room that we were lucky enough to be in, which was, you know, Alan and Heath, Rick from Avalon, you know, William Edge, Marilyn Iloff, I mean, North Carolina,
our salon.
Modern Salon.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, it was like we were in there with all these people that were such big players already. And I kept putting us at the table. Every time we had to congregate at a table, I made sure we were at the right table. Yeah. And Shawn's like secretly leaning over like, I hate you. You know? But I knew that's who we needed. That's who we needed to get knowledge from and to learn from them so that we could in turn be our best selves. And we wanted to be one of those front runners. And
now it's the student becomes the teacher, right?
Yeah. And I will tell you, it was really crazy. What was it at the last Congress when we were fortunate and, you know, humbled enough to be one of the top 100 Aveda salons. And, you know, we're looking around this room and I'm like, how am I here? You know, I'm looking at the people that I'm sharing space with and thinking, how am I here? Even though I fully knew how I was there, it was so surreal and so humbling to know that we did the work, you know. And I remember saying to Rick from Avalon that I was like, Rick, when I met you, you were such a peer to me. You were such a mentor. And I was like, I can't believe I'm standing in this room. And he said, well, you are. And I was like, okay, you know what? You're right. I am.
You are, you did as you say, you did the work.
We did the work. We did the work. And I think that's what a lot of people are afraid to do. They're afraid to do the work.
And just so that people are clear, because I don't want to assume that everybody knows when we all refer to MQC, some people might not, what is MQC?
I know.
Right. And MQC was a program, an in-depth program that we did for years called Neill Quality College. And we would gather, there was probably an average of 30 to 40 people in a group, and we would gather on a frequent basis in person. And like, Scott and Shawn are saying, we would do some deep work. We would work on our business, but we'd also do a lot of work on ourselves because, it all starts with self, right? And
be honest.
Yeah.
Even the things that you don't want to be honest about, you have to be honest, and sometimes that's just acknowledging your fear,
And do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do it anyway.
Yeah. And we did. I mean, I remember, well, and listen, that can be applicable to many different situations. I mean, like anytime you're growing your business or whatever, you always have that fear of what if it doesn't work? What if I remember one of our, 15 years ago when we were moving into the location that we were in, it was in a higher end center than what we were previously. The rent was doubled. And I just told Shawn, like, hey, here's where we're going. And he's like, Shawn's that person that needs concrete proof. And I'm like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I believe it. I feel it. And the whole time he's just like, oh my God, I'm never going to eat again. I'm never going to, and he had so much fear going into it. And I just knew that it was going to be fine.
But I did have a lot of trust in Scott too, and his belief in it. And I think that's over the years, I think that's flipped back and forth. Like one person may doubt it, but the other person feels passionately about it. And so we sort of play off each other and trust each other in those moments, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably it could be a major ingredient in your success. The fact that you
I have no doubt about that.
We have that the one thing that I do know 100% is that our dynamic and us together and the team that we are has been so important to us sitting here this many years.
Well, and I mean, this is like when we talk about spilling the tea. I mean, this is probably more tea than I care to spill, but we were involved personally for many years. And a lot of times people still think we are because they just see us. And, most people, if they have a breakup, they go their separate ways. But we've somehow managed to maintain that friendship and that relationship, even though it's no longer personally connected. Or in that sense. But it was serious business when we were going through our breakup, that we were both at the depths of our hurt and anger, and we're standing in the Roosevelt Hotel, and I can't remember who it was that we just heard, but we were like, hey, we have to decide right now who we are going to be for each other, for our business, and we had had that conversation long before becoming business partners, that our personal relationship was personal, but our business was business. And how would we handle that if that other were to dissolve? And, at the end of the day, we both knew that we loved business. We knew we loved our business and that we loved each other. So, but it was serious business that really helped solidify that ongoing route for us. You know what I'm saying? That it was in that moment that we could stand there and knew that we were connected enough to our business that we believed in each other and all of that, that we could set aside that hurt and all of that and move forward. So serious business has always been very, very special to us because it literally helped in a moment where I wanted to just walk away from it all because I couldn't process what I needed to process. It gave me that. It gave me that ability to process and to move forward. So,
Well, clearly,
and that's not something we've ever shared. So.
But it goes back to you, Deborah, earlier when you said, you have to show up and you have to do the work. Yeah. And that can apply to a lot of things, not just business, it's just personally, showing up and doing it.
Well, and it really, I thank you guys for sharing this because, Carol and I, we have this love for this serious business, and to hear that it has had an impact on you each as your whole, and your whole person, your whole being, your whole business, because it's so, you can't unwind the two. You can't really, I always say that most of us, especially in our industry, we live a blurred life.
Oh,
completely.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
And
it's hard maybe, unless you're in the industry or in this world that we're in, sometimes it can be hard to understand that if you're, on the outside of it, but it's very true. Yeah.
You affirm what I think I do every day when I'm working on serious business is I think I'm making our industry a better place to live for all of us. That's what I think I'm doing.
Listen, for anybody that's ever questioning whether they should come to serious business or, or just even having thoughts of should I return, you never know what you're going to get, but you always get something that's so meaningful and so impactful, whether it's your own personal story that it hits, or sometimes you discover ways that you need to move your business and you weren't even aware that you needed to,
Mm-hmm.
So it usually hits us spot on of whatever's happening around us. So it's very impactful.
And we do have to thank you, both of you too, because I think that it's always been so holistic. Anything that that you approach, whether it's EQC or serious business, it's very holistic, and I think that that's mattered a lot to us.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Sure.
for always showing up because we do it because and Carol and I in a selfish way do it because it's how we do our own personal work too.
I believe it.
Like you all, I think that everyone that's listening, this work that we do in this special industry is our personal expression. It's how we express what's important to us and who we are. And, I really have always thought that our industry has this opportunity and obligation because we can make a contribution one person at a time. And it just has this major ripple effect into society. I know sounds idealistic.
Yeah, but
It's still what I'm passionate about and know that we really evoke the work that you all do, that we do, is to evoke self-love.
Yes, definitely.
And y'all are succeeding because we benefit from it. We see it working, we've seen it working in our lives over the duration of the last however long we've been together. And so it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
We appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, I think that we could start to wrap up. And again, everyone will get more in-depth how when they participate and show up at Serious Business in January. And they'll get to learn more from you all.
ask them a question. So how is it that you and you guys and your team are participating in Serious Business? Are y'all going to do it as a team? Are you going to do it? Is everybody going to do it individually? What are you doing?
So I thought the best scenario would be to treat it just as if we were coming to Serious Business. So we are looking for a space that can hold everyone with some distance. You know, we have about 50 team members, so we need a space that we can have some space. But I want people to show up just like we would if we were going to Serious Business. So we'll spend the whole day together. We'll break in the evening, see you the next morning, and you know, we'll just do jumbo screen and you know, play it as it's going. So that's our intention at this point.
Well, that's definitely one of the line
Anything can change because of COVID, but like that is our intention.
right now. Yeah.
I think that's really smart. This
Yeah.
could be the, you know, the perfect team meeting to kick off the year.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad to hear you're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's important. I mean,
it is.
if you're going to be there, be there.
And it's a great
Yeah.
opportunity too this year, because it's like take the opportunity that you have. What can we do that's different, you know, that we can't normally do? So it'll be great.
Cool.
Good.
Well, thank you guys so much. It was
Thank you.
very
We
talking to you.
appreciate you
Well,
so much.
thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you.
And have a as good a holiday as we can, you know, create, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
All right,
you.
see you
Thank
soon.
Deborah.
Bye.
Bye.